Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Intellectual Adda on Creativity Café. Previously, we explored two timeless fascinations: humanity's enduring curiosity about the universe and how modern physics is reshaping technology, artificial intelligence, and the future of society. Today, we take a step deeper because despite centuries of discovery, the universe still guards its greatest secret. What is dark matter? What is dark energy? And can black holes reveal the hidden architecture of space and time? Will humanity ever uncover a theory of everything? Or perhaps the most humbling question, are there mysteries science may never fully solve? So today, it is not only a conversation about cosmology, it is a reflection of humanity, of humility, and it is a meditation on knowledge, on wisdom, and it is humanity's endless search for truth, the reality. To guide us through these profound questions, I'm honored to welcome back Rear Admiral Dr. Khandakar Akhter Hossain, a man whose life reads like a modern epic, Vice-Chancellor of Bangladesh Maritime University and former Assistant Chief of Naval Staff Material of Bangladesh Navy, a career spent navigating not only oceans, but the vast intellectual waters of engineering, naval architecture, strategic innovation. His scholarship stretches far beyond the horizon. Over 250 journal articles and 40 books available on Amazon in the areas of physics, quantum mechanics, cosmology, artificial intelligence, innovation, and the future of civilization. And what makes him truly remarkable is this: while many engineers build machines and many admirals command fleets, he spends his evenings reading Albert Einstein, Richard Feynman, Stephen Hawking, and Michio Kaku, asking questions that lie far beyond engineering, shipbuilding, maritime operations, or naval warfare. For him, knowledge is not a destination, it is a voice. Admiral and Vice-Chancellor, welcome once again to Creativity Café.
Thank you, dear Dr. Moin, and your great audience.
Thank you very much, Admiral. Really, it's fascinating to have you on this Intellectual Adda. Well, today's Adda is designed as a three-act journey, a cosmic narrative in three movements. Act 1, the great mysteries. Act 2, science and wisdom. And Act 3, wisdom, humility, and the human journey. So let's start with Act 1, the great mysteries. Vice-Chancellor, after centuries of scientific progress, why do so many fundamental mysteries about the universe still remain unsolved?
Very thought-provoking inquiry, Dr. Moin. Surprisingly, fundamental mysteries remain unsolved because our best tools have limits. Some parts of nature are hidden from us, and new finding discoveries create new questions. However, science has achieved extraordinary success in explaining many aspects of nature, from the motion of planets to the behavior of atoms. Yet, every major discovery has also revealed new questions. We now understand far more about the universe than previous generation, but we also recognize that much of reality remains beyond our current knowledge. Every answer we find shows us how much more we don't know. The currently accepted model that describes the early moments of the universe is the Big Bang. While the Big Bang explains how the universe changed during its earliest moment, it tells us nothing about how the universe came into existence. Was there anything before the Big Bang? Or did the universe simply spring from nothing? Still now, this remains one of the physics' biggest mysteries. We have to know true answer of many simple things. We cannot build particles collide large enough to see the smallest pieces of matter, or light from distant parts of the universe has not reaches us yet, or we cannot test conditions inside black holes or at the exact start of the universe. Additionally, we may say dark matter, dark energy, quantum gravity, and the origin of the universe continue to challenge existing theories. Today, we know that gravity does not fit well with the rules of very small things. We have enormous limitations, Dr. Moin. However, rather than watching those answer or unanswered questions as failures, I see them as evidence that science is a living process of continuous explorations. This mystery invite deeper investigations and remind us that knowledge evolves through questioning, testing, and refinement. In that sense, uncertainty is not an obstacle to science, rather, one of the greatest strengths, encouraging humanity and inspiring future generations to continue the pursuit for understanding. Dr. Moin.
Thank you very much, Vice-Chancellor. That was a brilliant answer, to be honest with you. I was really, I was thinking that how would you address this particular question. But I really liked that you said that uncertainty is not an obstacle to science, but it is one of the greatest strength, encouraging humility and inspiring future generation to continue search for understanding. So this uncertainty, not knowing things, is not bad because it is preparing the next generation on a different kind of quest, on a different kinds of journey. And that has been resonated in your answer so well. So thank you very much for that. Let me get into the next question, Vice Chancellor. As you know that dark matter and dark energy are believed to make up most of the universe, yet we still do not know exactly what they are. What does this tell us about the limits of human knowledge?
Great question. In physical cosmology and astronomy, dark matter does not give off light, so we can only see its pull on other things. Dark matter is implied by gravitational effect that cannot be explained by general relativity unless more matter is present than can be observed. Cosmologists believe after the Big Bang, dark matter stormed into globes alone, narrow filaments with supercluster of galaxies forming a cosmic wave. At scale on which entire galaxy appear like tiny particles. On the other hand, we can see dark energy, but it pushes the universe apart, but we don't know what it is. The exact nature of dark energy remains a mystery, and many possible explanations have been theorized. It dominates the universe, containing 68% of the total mass energy in the present day apparent universe, along with dark matter and ordinary matter, contain or contribute 27% and 5% respectively. And other components such as neutrons and protons are nearly negligible. So the dark matter and dark energy, two unseen component of the cosmos that make up about 95% of the universe. And those are unseen and unknown. What a mystery and what a limitation of our knowledge. One of the most remarkable lessons from modern cosmology is that the obstacle or the observable universe represent only a small fraction of what appears to exist. Although we infer the presence of the dark matter through its gravitational effect and dark energy through accelerating expansion of the universe, their true nature remains unknown. This should not discourage us. Instead, it should cultivate intellectual humility. History repeatedly shows that today mysterious often become tomorrow's discoveries. At the same time, science teaches us to distinguish between what we know, what we can reasonably deduct, and what remains, that is the speculative. That discipline protects the integrity of the scientific inquiry, recognizing the limit of our current understanding is not a weakness, but a sign of scientific maturity, remaining as that, it reminds us always that every generative receives or every generation can receive unanswered questions and has the responsibility to explore them with curiosity and rigor. Dr. Moin.
Fantastic, Vice-Chancellor. I'm really thrilled the way you just answered such a complex question. And as I was trying to follow you, because obviously it has got very complex explanation. We are talking about dark matter, dark energy, and so on. And I was trying to understand that how simply you were explaining, but even after saying so many things about dark matter, dark energy, you just deducted that their true nature remains unknown. And that's very powerful. And then you said that, well, so what does it mean? And that's the moment you actually grounded the lesson. You said that history repeatedly shows us that sort of something like that, that today's mystery often become tomorrow's discoveries. And what I like most particularly is that when you said that we need to distinguish between three things. One is what we know, what we can reasonably infer, and what remains speculative. Because I'm a storyteller, so I tell a story, but sometimes there are a story, that stories or those stories never end because they are ongoing story. So when you say that what we know, what we can reasonably infer, and what remains speculative, it shows that it is a unfolding story, and the quest is going on. So the scientists and people, those who are investigating, they are sort of not just questing for unveiling something, but they are trying to dance with the music of mystery in an unfolding story as players, as characters. So that's really fascinating. And with that, I would invite my audience to Act 2, which is Science and Wisdom. So, Vice-Chancellor, you have written so many books, so many remarkable papers, and those got huge number of citations. So I know that your work also reflects on insights from holy books, trying to reconcile the tension between science and the holy books, and how we can we can actually expand our knowledge, but not seeing that they are in a tug of war, rather seeing in a different situation. So do you believe science and faith must always be in conflict, or can they complement one another?
Difficult, but very intellectual questions. Actually, between science and faith have no conflict. Many people see them as two different ways to understand the truth. They can complement each other by answering different questions. I don't see science and faith as enemies competing for the same answers. Rather, they often address different dimensions of human experience. Science pursues to understand the mechanism of the nature or the natural world through observation, experimentations, and evidence. Faith for many peoples provide meaning, moral guidance, and a framework for reflecting on questions that extend beyond empirical investigations. Consider the scientific reality that no matter how we segment physical, tangible reality, we end up with a quantity that cannot explain its own existence, how it go there, or where it come from. And if all material questions cannot clarify their own existence, the only possibility for self-explanation would be something that is non-material. In other words, something that is spiritual. We cannot avoid it. It sense there must be intelligence behind the universe that displays intangibility like the universe in which we live now. I'm adding something more. Science and faith are not at odds. They are not at war. No matter what science or faith has led us to believe, they can coexist. They can complement each other. In fact, science adds solidarity and reasoning behind our faith. The creation of the universe is a primary act of creators' self-expressions and an important part of the creator's self-revelations. To us, today, science is increasing our ability to read creator's story. I'm telling creator's story. Scientific informations allow us to look at all of creations in its totality of history and give a richer and more real meaning to what creator is doing in the world. And creation's unfolding story must be integrated into the next generation's framework of faith. That's why throughout history, many distinguished scientists have been inspired by both severe inquiry and profound philosophical reflections. The important principle is that each should respect the methods and boundaries of the others. When science remains committed to evidence and faith encourage ethical responsibility, both can contribute positively to human flourishing. The pursuit of knowledge and the pursuit of wisdom need not to be opposing journeys. They can enrich one another when approached with humility, openness, and mutual respect. Dr. Moin.
That's very powerful, Vice-Chancellor. That's very powerful. So you just said that they are not in opposing sort of they are not opposing forces, and for human flourishing, they should not even take opposing positions. Rather, pursuit of knowledge or the pursuit of wisdom. If we really approach them with humility, openness, and mutual respect, as you said, then we can have a far enriching journey than we can have when we are our mind is sort of compartmentalized. So that's really, really very powerful way of thinking. and powerful way of addressing this question. I know this is a very difficult question sometimes to answer, and different group of people, they might struggle how they will reconcile, but I can see that the story you said, it is a very promising story, and it is a story inviting us to unveil and to search for truth, and path might be different, but that doesn't matter. So, Vice Chancellor, let me ask you the next question. So some people believe that one day science will explain everything. Others believe certain mysteries will always remain. Where do you stand?
Another difficult question. Okay. Science has repeatedly expanded the boundaries of human understanding, and I have great confidence in its capacity to reveal new insight. However, history also teaches us to be cautious about claiming conclusiveness. Life does not appear to be something primarily extraordinary. Contempt its remarkable complexity and the many conditions that had to overlay for its appearance. It nevertheless ascended either on Earth or in other similar planetary systems within our galaxy, from which it may have been carried here by heavenly bodies. It arose through natural process, changed over billions of years, recurrently stood on the edge of destructions, and one day maybe will disappear as well. Those indicates that life is governed by same laws of nature as all other phenomena in the universe. Every generation has believed it was close to complete understanding, only to discover entirely new questions. Whether humanity ultimately develops a theory of everything remains uncertain. Even if such a theory were achieved, philosophical questions concerning meanings, values, purpose would still invite reflections. Let's think differently. If the multiverse hypothesis is correct, some modern cosmological model allows for this possibility, then the space of possible worlds becomes virtually boundless. In that case, the development of life and intellect may prove not to be a rare exception, but one of the ordinary manifestations of the fundamental properties of reality itself. However, the universe may contain phenomena immeasurably more complex than anything known to us today. If the human brain and living organism seems to us the summit of complexity, then for reality itself, they may represent merely the first letter of an infinite alphabet of complexity. What is amazing is not the emergence of life itself, but truth's ability to bring forth again and again ever more complex form of material organizations. So the emergence of life should be observed not as an extraordinary, outstanding exception, but as one of the ordinary, mutual manifestations of authenticity's essential properties. For me, the beauty of science lies not in the promise of the complete certainty, but in its willingness to keep asking better questions. The search itself enrich humility by cultivating curiosity, critical thinking, and intellectual humility. The knowledge grows through continuous explorations rather than through the assumption that every mystery has already been solved. What do you think? Dr. Moin. I've given
Yeah,
the long answer.
that's very thought-provoking, to be honest with you. I'm still trying to digest, actually. But yeah, you covered a lot of grounds, actually you addressed these two positions that my question particularly addressed, and you addressed them very, very well. But what is important that you showed that actually having the position that all the mysteries have been answered, that may not be very optimistic, because when there is a presence of mystery, that takes us on a journey, and knowledge grows through that continuous exploration. And mystery is this kind of conflict that takes the story forward. So that's really fascinating. And I think our audience, because this is a very special kind of topic, those who are interested about it, they will get immense value out of your answer. And with that, I welcome our audience to Act 3, that is wisdom, humility, and the human journey. So, Vice-Chancellor, my question to you now is that after spending years studying the universe, has science changed the way you see yourself and humanity?
Very much so, Dr. Moin. Science has changed how we see ourselves and humanity by showing our small place in space. Space is so vast. Our shared origins with the stars, galaxies, and our deep connections to the Earth. Studying the universe has shaped understanding through concepts like the Big Bang, dark matter, dark energy, black holes, multiverse, big freeze, big crunch, big bounce, big rip, and many more, the sparking curiosity and imaginations. The more I study the universe, the more I appreciate both the extraordinary capability and the limitations of the human mind. We have sent spacecraft beyond our solar system, detected gravitational waves, and explored the quantum world. Yet, many of the universe's deepest questions remain unanswered. That realizations encourage humility rather than certainty. It reminds us that knowledge is a privilege, not a position. At the same time, it strengthens my optimism because every generation has expanded the boundaries of understanding through curiosity, discipline, and collaborations. I ask many questions to me and my respected faculties and my dear students. How has studying the universe reshaped your understanding of it? Was there a clue, concept, or phenomenon that ignited a major paradigm shift for you? Did it make you feel like you could see farther? Do you enjoy walking along the ever-shifting shore or sea beach of our knowledge, intellectual, and wisdom? Actually, science are human-centered and for development of entire civilizations. We need to be able to reflect to ourselves and learn from our relation with others in our group, community, society, world, and human civilizations. Science has therefore taught me not only about the universe, but also about the humanity itself. Our greatest strength lies in our willingness to continue learning, to question our assumptions, and to work together in pursuit of faith and truth. In that sense, science is not merely a body of knowledge, it is a lifelong discipline of intellectual humility and shared discovery. Dr. Moin.
That's very powerful, Chancellor. It's very profound. I particularly, I mean, the way you finished, I was kind of, you said that it's not merely a body of knowledge, It is a lifelong discipline of intellectual humility and shared discovery. So humility comes as well as shared discovery comes, that nobody is complete. So when they share their knowledge, when they share the findings of their quest, that is where the better thing comes. So I truly admire the way you have answered and the long work that you have actually put together to understand all those things and your research. So let me take you to the next question. If you could redesign education for 21st century, what qualities would you want young people to develop beyond scientific knowledge?
Well, knowledge will always be important, but knowledge is alone is no longer sufficient. The future will require individuals who can think critically, learn continuously, and work across disciplines. Scientific literacy should be accompanied by ethical reasoning, creativity, communications, and empathy. We also need to cultivate resilience because future generations will face problems that have no simple or immediate solutions. Today, we may develop a system where every student can come under a test annually, starting from the age 6 by the artificial intelligence. We may develop and regulate a study curriculum to progress and challenge them intellectually. Their strength, potential, and talent would be encouraged. Their weakness and limitations overcome to the degree possible. The AI would continuously adjust the student individual curriculum over time to bring out their best and advance their critical thinking skill, while fully informing them of how the worlds really work in an objective manner. AI can guide them over the years of their education to purposeful and fulfilling careers that are needed in our changing and complex society. Occupation, professions, and careers that they will be interested in, have desire for, can and will be successful in, and will enable the student to become truly productive, useful, and engaged members of society, culture, and humanity. On the other hand, we need to return the focus to basic skill in the early years. How the child feels about his or her school experience is, in the long run, far less important than how well he or she prepared for higher levels of schooling and for life after school. When it comes to learning to read, speak, and write properly, and to learning the basic of science and math, that is on individual truths, there is a body of knowledge that has to be imparted by the teachers and masters by the students. This may not always be fun, but necessary. Letting students go forward from the early grades without having masters their body of knowledge and skill is wrong and damaging in later life, not only to the student, but eventually to society as a whole. So we must remember that universities and institutions have a responsibility not only to prepare graduates for employments, but also to prepare thoughtful citizens capable of making responsible decisions in an increasingly complex world which is coming near future. Education should inspire curiosity rather than memorizations, collaborations rather than isolation, and wisdom rather than informations alone. To redesign modern education, we must focus on human skill beyond facts, creative problem solving, emotional intelligence, and digital adaptability. Ultimately, education is not simply to produce skilled professionals, but to develop human beings who can use knowledge responsibly for the benefit of society and future generation. This broader visions of education is essential if scientific progress is to be matched by moral and civic progress. Yes, Dr. Moin,
Thank
what do
you,
you
thank
think?
you, thank you, Vice Chancellor. That's a very, very comprehensive and profound answer, to be honest with you, because you covered everything. And particularly, I liked something that you said, that scientific literacy should be accompanied by ethical reasoning, creativity, and communication, and empathy. Because there are two aspects of human being. You know, one is the power of imagination, but another is the soul, the heart, that is kind of let us understand what is moral, what is immoral, and also let us feel that we all are the we all are the component of a great symphony, and that is sort of existing as universe. So that is very, very powerful. But also you said that education should inspire curiosity rather than memorization, collaboration rather than isolation, and wisdom rather than information alone. That's really powerful. I also found that when you said that the purpose of education is not simply to produce skilled professional, but to develop human beings who can use knowledge responsibly for the benefit of the society and future generation. So we need to think about that. Actually, it's not about what the student or what the graduate know. That is one aspect. They might know many things, but if they don't find their identity, if they don't become something, the kind of people who can lead the world into the right direction, who can create an inclusive world, then how does it matter what they know? So I think your answer to this question is very, very comprehensive, very, very profound, and especially for the policymakers and leaders, this can be a source of inspirations to design the future of education. Thank you very much for that. So I'm coming to the final question, Admiral. So let me ask you this question, and possibly this is a very interesting question as well. If humanity never answers every mystery of the universe, then would our journey still have been worthwhile? What do you think?
Great. We live in a time of answer. If you type your questions into a search engine or AI chatbot, and you will receive an instant, logical, high-quality response. But there is one question no technology can answer for you. What is the meaning of life? Life's at one end of an emotional spectrum. At the other end is fulfillment. The sense that life is meaningful, resonant, and coherent. Regret in pain from the past and reheat it from the present for the presence. Can AI or robotics automate the mandate so that hard work become optional? Great Elon Musk thinks so. He predicts that our future challenge would not be productivity, but human fulfillment. Without hardship and desire, will our prosperity or fortune of everything drive us into emotional collapse, or odds trap us in echo chamber of egoistic pressure or pleasure, egoistic pleasure, I am telling. The star of our own digital realities, or will we do what human always do? Manufacture, challenge, strive, complete, and dream big, whatever the future holds. The central challenge remains making the journey feel worthwhile ensuring what we do matter, if only to ourselves. By the way, without questions, the value of science is not measured only by the answer it provides, but also by the questions it inspires. Every generation inherits mysteries from the one before it, explored them with the best available knowledge, and then passes new questions to the new generation. That is how civilization progresses. We may never fully understand the universe, but the search itself has transformed humanity. It has expanded our knowledge, improved our lives, and encouraged international collaboration across the culture and disciplines. More importantly, it has taught us humility. The universe reminds us that we are part of something far greater than ourselves, and that recognition should inspire both wonder and responsibility. In future generations, continue to ask courageous questions with open minds and ethical purpose. Then our journey will always be worthwhile, regardless of whether we ever discover every answer. Perhaps the greatest achievement is not solving every mystery, but becoming wiser through the search itself. Yes, Dr. Moin.
That's a powerful ending. That not solving all the mystery, but be more wise, more knowledgeable, and more fulfilled by the search of it. So quest is everything. That's very powerful, and I think that sets the tone of today's Intellectual Adda. Admiral, thank you once again for joining us on Intellectual Adda at Creativity Café and for carrying us through this remarkable trilogy of ideas.
Thank you, dear Dr. Moin, and your respected audience.
Thank you very much once again. Let me just finish our today's Intellectual Adda, Admiral. Across our conversation, dear audience, we have traveled from the foundations of modern physics to the frontiers of quantum technologies. Finally, to the timeless questions that shape our humanity. We have seen that science is not just a theory, it is a way of thinking, curiosity, evidence, imagination, humility, which is very, very important. And we have been reminded that as knowledge expands, wisdom must rise with it. The future of civilization will depend not only on powerful technologies, but on thoughtful leaders, responsible institutions, and compassionate human beings. Perhaps the deepest lesson is this: the universe is not only asking us to understand it, it is asking us to become better stewards of knowledge we gain. To everyone watching this Intellectual Adda, thank you for joining us for this special trilogy. May it inspire you to ask bigger questions, think more deeply, and continue your own lifelong journey of learning. If you enjoyed this series, please like, share, and subscribe to Creativity Café. And tell us in the comments which mystery of the universe speaks to you and what does it teach us about ourselves. Science expands knowledge. Wisdom guides its use. Together, they shape the future of civilization. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, keep wondering. Thank you and goodbye.